Hi, this is David with Stress Free Property Management, and the purpose of this video is dealing with unusual mold situations. Specifically, the tenant reports mold, you go out and you can't find any. There's no visible evidence of any mold. What do? Okay, so let me back up. First of all, it's common that when it comes to mold, most of the time when a tenant reports it, you're gonna go out, look around, you're gonna see the mold, and you can get it treated professionally or however you want to do it, and that's fine. But the real rare but so it's very important to understand what to do is when you don't see any mold. So sometimes tenants will say this and they just want out of their lease, and that's pretty much it. But other times you'll have them give you bills of them going to the hospital. The doctor says there's some sort of issue, or worse, they called out a mold company and the company has given you a report saying that there is mold. So that's one of the more common ones of this situation. You don't see any mold, they call a company, that company says mold, and by the way, when they want to charge you $2,000 to $5,000 to fix the problem. So the challenge with that is there's a real conflict of interest when it comes to a mold company coming in by the tenant request, because first of all, there's mold spores in every part of the world at all times, including Antarctica. So it's not that the home is not supposed to have any mold spores. Everywhere has mold spores. It just doesn't have too high of mold spores. And typically, if it's really excessive, it's going to cause respiratory problems. You might have bloody nose or something. Bloody nose is severe, but you might have respiratory problems or something like that. So this outside mold company, at least half the time, and I think I'm being generous, they're absolutely lying. How do I know? Well, we manage a lot of properties and we're mold certified. So we go out with our equipment, which will measure the particles in the air, and then we also have a moisture meter, which will tell us how much moisture is in the air. Above a certain percentage is where the moisture needs to be in order for mold to start growing, which is about 60%. So if it's 40, chances are there's not a mold problem. And then when you run the particle counter, is what we call it, and it's really low, then there's not an issue. They're just making it up. But here's how you solve the problem, because you don't want to get sued, because they can go in front of a judge. The judge doesn't know crap about mold. They're going to look at this innocent tenant, oh, cough, 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 hospital bills, and they're going to fine for them, right? So what you do is you hire an indoor, outdoor air quality specialist. They cost about $500 to $600. They are far more trained than the ServPro mold tech that's coming out and probably not telling you the truth. These people have a 4-year degree. They do nothing but go out and solve these type of situations to see, yes, there is a problem or there's not a problem. And so what they'll do is they'll take samples, air, they'll take samples of different parts of the home, they'll send it to a professional outside laboratory, and they'll get a complete report back. And then that's much, much more definitive than some guy who's getting paid a commission to sell a mold job. So hopefully that helps. If you run into a problem where you can't find any mold, but the tenant's going ballistic, then hire an indoor, outdoor air quality specialist, $500 to $600. In the state of Florida, they're not allowed to do any mold remediation, the air quality specialist, so there's no conflict of interest. In other states, they can, so you gotta be careful. But I just went through a situation like this and it worked out perfectly. It was a $2,700 rental. Home was 3 years old. Tenants claiming all this stuff, bloody nose, everything else. And it turned out there was nothing. So that's how you kind of cover your butt. Hope that makes sense. And thanks for listening. Make sure you subscribe below.